back with another Splinterlands video. So some more Grandmaster Rathe propaganda, I guess. I teased it at the end of the last video, but I think Grandmaster Rathe is the perfect Yodin counter. I think it is specifically built to counter Yodin with the cards that already exist in life and in neutral. Before I get into it, it would be awesome if you enjoy my content or learn anything new from my videos, if you can like and subscribe, and it'll motivate me to help spread the good word of Splinterlands further. Alright, so disclaimer, this is mostly a strategy for gold and higher, to be clear. It's best in champion, or sorry, diamond and champion. It can be done with gold and higher, but before that, there's just not enough return fire available for you to really do the strategy that I'm about to talk about. And I'm going to specifically give example lineups that I would toss out at the higher levels. So I'm here on Splinter Cards in the Abilities tab. Awesome resource if you're not here, or if you're not using it. I'm here on Return Fire. This is going to list me every monster that has Return Fire, including the level at which it gets it at. So I'm going to scroll to the bottom, and it's these four right here that are key. So the reason why I say it's best at gold and higher, but even better at diamond and higher, is that this card right here only gets Return Fire at a max level. So you can see here, I'm on Return Fire, so you can see level 8, that's the max for rares. Before level 8, it still has shield, which is what makes it viable in gold. But if you fully want to use the strategy I'm going to show you, you need to be playing at diamond and higher, unfortunately. And, once there's more Return Fire available, hopefully at lower levels, in life and in neutral, it'll be more viable. But basically, so I have Shield Bearer maxed out, I have Onyx Sentinel maxed out, and I have Alamo Cameo at level 3, so I do have the Return Fire. I don't have Cornelius. Cornelius would be perfect for this, but I don't have it. It's a card I'm going to want to pick up for sure, but for now, I don't have it. Specifically, it has the heal, which is going to be amazing for what I'm about to talk about. But here's how it would go. I would put Shield Bearer first, because again, if I can dictate where they're going to shoot, and I have Amplify, I can set up my team perfectly. The one risk to this is really Scattershot, which not a lot of people play, but I think is going to become more viable of a skill once people realize how powerful it is to dictate exactly where your opponent's going to shoot with taunt. So that's why Shield Bearer is the key for this, with the shield, right? And Grandmaster Rathe in particular is important because Yodin has some underrated magic plays. So, you want to account for that, and the Grandmaster Rathe providing him with Void Armor makes him more viable even if you get a Yodin magic play. But you expect range, you're more likely to get range. So the shield, even when it doesn't have Return Fire and gold, makes this the perfect card to toss up front. Now in the second position, in gold, you're going to want to put the Alamo Cameo because it has the Return Fire at level 3. So basically what's going to happen is Shield Bearer is going to soak up, again, I'm assuming gold right now. It's going to soak up all of the damage. It's going to hit the Alamo Cameo, and if it's range, he's just going to toss it right back in an amplified manner, right at whoever's shooting it. Now, it's better at the higher levels, obviously, because both of these guys will be throwing back Return Fire amplified at your opponent if he also has the Return Fire. Now, here's where it gets kind of crazy, because I also have the Onyx Sentinel. I have it at max. And so I'm playing in Diamond. I can run a situation, just think about this. I put Shield Bearer in the second position. Now, normally against Yodin, right, you wouldn't want to, alright, let's back up for a second. This is in the first position. Yodin with Blast hits it. It'll hit Shield Bearer, and it'll hit the second position only, which in my previous examples, I'm talking about Alamo Cameo. If you put him in the second position, normally this isn't advisable, right, because it hits him, it'll hit the monster in the first position and also the monster in the third position. So in the first example, only 2 monsters are getting hit. But in the second example, where he's in the second position, 3 monsters are getting hit. But what if I want 3 monsters to get hit? So think about this for a second. Almo Cambio in the first position, Shield Bearer in the second position, Onyx Sentinel in the third position. Shield Bearer gets hit with range, he sends it back. Almo Cambio gets hit with a blast in the first position, he sends it back. Onyx Sentinel gets hit with a blast, he sends it back. All of which would be amplified. How crazy is that? And I'm not even mentioning Cornelius, who is perfect for this strategy, given it would work in gold too. You could do the same thing in gold, putting him in the second position, Cornelius in the third, him in the first. He wouldn't send it back, but he would have the shield to sort of dull the attacks, the range attacks. But both of them would send back the blast damage. So, you could set up with these 4 monsters here a fantastic Yodin defense. Now, I know people are going to talk about, Amplify already exists, you could do this across the board with other splinters, but the Amplify monsters, it's a wasted slot. In high mana matches, they don't really bring anything else to the table, so you're wasting a lot. You're wasting a slot in a high mana match that you could use for a much more powerful monster. In a low mana match, the mana is really important, right? Like, you don't have a lot of mana to work with. So if you're wasting a monster, if you're wasting some mana on a card that only brings this specific skill and nothing really else to the table, and instead you could have your summoner have that and give it to everyone and save that spot that could be used for something else, that's a huge bonus when you're talking about having to defeat Yodin. Because what I just talked about isn't enough, right? Like, you also need to do some damage of your back line by itself, right? You can't just rely on the return fires, even though I do think in some instances that's all you'll actually need, but you'll still want to bring some damage of your own, or some triages, or something more specifically useful. If you can take away the Amplify and not have it to play sort of Dax Paragon, which doesn't bring that much else to the table, you'll be able to get other monsters in. And life has some specific ones that are additive to what we're talking about. So quickly, let's go to Triage. Think about the 2 options I just talked about with Shield Bearer in front and Almo Cambio in the second position, or Shield Bearer in the second position surrounded by Onyx Sentinel and Almo Cambio. If you're bringing Triages, either through Jinra Nova, which you get at gold, or Spirit Hoarder, which you get all the way at level 1. Again, you don't have to return fire, so not really super relevant. You could bring both of these guys. And what they would effectively do is heal up Shield Bearer, heal up the Onyx Sentinel in the third position. Or, if you had Cornelius, the one I don't have, who's actually perfect for this card, they would also heal them up as well. So you could bring some Triage monsters, keep those guys alive, and keep that return fire firing. Another option, this is a card I would probably play a decent amount depending on the mana cap. You can play Truthspeaker. It's going to heal up the Almo Cambio in the front or the Shield Bearer in the front. Add some extra shield to all of your monsters with return fire that are tossing them back. Then the additional cleanse is helpful, but it'll make sure that you can keep healing the Shield Bearer in the front. You don't have to worry about affliction. You don't have to worry about poison. So this is a card I would bring a lot. Silver Shield Sheriff is another one. I don't have it to this level that has to protect. Maybe I'll get it. What else? There was one more. Oh, the Repair Armor, obviously. So life specifically, Lone Boatman I have. So, your monsters that are getting hit with this. And remember, Almo Cambio normally doesn't have a shield. Onyx Sentinel normally doesn't have a shield. With Grandmaster Rathe, they will both have a shield that can be repaired. So repair is going to be extra powerful in this. Not to mention, obviously, the Shield Bearer has a ton of shield that will now be voided. There's a reason why Adel Brightwing has shot up in price. That's because of this, the repair, the resurrect, and the swiftness obviously helps. Another repair monster. Neutral repair monster, Scavelo Hireling. So all of these guys are options as well. And this is all specifically unlocked because of the Amplify given by, and the Void Armor, that's also big, because remember, Yodin has some good magic attacks, given by Grandmaster Rathe. So a lot of people are talking about how Grandmaster Rathe isn't on the same level as Yodin or Kitty or even Llama. But to me, that's irrelevant. It's not about it being on the same level. It's about unlocking certain counters to those cards. And I think between the cards that already exist in life, when you give the specific lineups that Grandmaster Rathe will unlock through its Amplify and Void Armor, you've now created a Splinter that is built to counter Yodin. And like right now, the main one that gets used, which people do have success with and is right now probably the best counter, is the Deep Swimmer, right? Brings its the two additional shield with the return and the blind. So it's going to make it harder to hit. Going to return fire and add some extra shield. This is great. Doesn't have Amplify. So what you have to do instead is bring an Amplify monster, which Water actually has one of my favorite ones because it has some additional abilities. Where's Cleanse? Here it is. No, not Cleanse. I am going to get the monster that I want from Cleanse, but the River Nymph has the Amplify, but I do want to bring it up so I can see the level. Gets the Amplify at level 4, so I believe that's Silver, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, it gets the Amplify at level 4, has the Cleanse, and at the top level it gets Swiftness. So that's good for later on, but you have to bring this monster, right? If this monster were to die from Scattershot, or if you didn't bring a Taunt, for example, right? Because that's the big thing, the Shield Bearer has the Taunt. If you didn't bring a Taunt, this monster could very easily be wiped out. And the other thing with Little Deep Swimmer, where is Return Fire again? There it is. You're getting no protection from magic directly. So you also have to make sure you're bringing some magic protection. To me, there's just a lot of extra steps that need to be taken to fully counter Yodin using the Deep Swimmer that don't exist anymore with, or I guess you can skip some steps when you're talking about Grandmaster Rathe. Just because it has the Amplify and it gives you some magic protect, you can load up on the range and return fire that you're expecting to get from Yodin and what makes Yodin its most powerful. So yeah, maybe in a vacuum, this card isn't as great as the top summoners, but to me that's relevant. What it does is it unlocks specific things you can run, specific lineups you can run that are direct counters to the best summoners in the game. I'm going to end it there. I'm very excited for this card. I can't wait to have it. I lose to Yodin so much. I now have the ability to counter it. Can't wait. Thank you all for being here. If you enjoyed the video or learned anything new, it would be awesome if you could like and subscribe. I hope you guys have a wonderful day.